All right, you asked for it. Here it is, the Extendo with DJ
Extendo.
Jam. My name is Beto Perez.
My name is Derek Santiago, man. Average People Video Show Extendo version. Hey, right off the back, like when you were talking, dog, I had something that just came to me.
Whoa.
It was making me realize that San Diego being a Navy town, but like what you were talking about during those times in the early 80s, there was transplants that were in hip hop when it first started that came to SD because of the military. That gave Dago original SD hip hop flavor from the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
Dog, that's like a huge thing that I never ever never put together, especially like so San Diego was like really influenced by East Coast hip hop, but also West Coast hip hop.
Yes.
But like Beto and I will always talk about how South Bay and San Diego in general is such a like a melting pot, but such an unpolished gem.
Yep.
And these stories that you were just talking about are one of the reasons and like the beginning of the roots setting into what it is today.
Yep. And it was, you know, like you hit it right on something when you said military, because if it wasn't for the military, I don't know how the East Coast and the West would have done coming up here. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if West Coast would have felt some kind of way, or, you know, East Coast feeling some kind of way because it was here on the West Coast. But because we're such a big military town, we had appreciation for both coasts implanted here, along with DJs who were bringing the real, like DJ Oz and Kuze, MC Kuze bought that real New York flavor. Oz was getting all the music from New York. You know what I mean? So I couldn't wait to show up to DJ with him, because I knew he was going to come with some heat that I hadn't heard from, you know, and was going to put me on to now I know what it is. You know what I mean? So I was turned on to a lot of music before a lot of DJs were out here just because of these guys.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I was born on the East Coast. So I feel I have East Coast roots in me too. I was also, you know, stayed in the South. I used to live in Dallas for like 6-7 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In my early years. So all that was instilled in me, and it helped me out musically later. You know what I mean? Because I can appreciate all it does. I see no coast.
Yeah.
I see good music.
Man.
You know what I mean? And it's because I've been there. It's different, dude, if you were just grew up here and you didn't see South, or you didn't see the East Coast. It's just like certain songs that you hear, you know, you might hear a song on the radio and you're like, oh, but then you go to a club and you hear that song play,
same
record, you see the same record, and you see that crowd reaction going in. Now you're a believer. You're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. I had the real people feeding me. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, dude, I was blessed. And that's what made me, I think, have that overall, you know what I mean, feel for all coasts.
Versatile DJ.
Versatile, yeah.
Hey, Jam, for the new generation that are DJs and they just go to, you know, to a website, download an MP3, bro. Can you take us back to how you used to get your music? Because we're speaking of how you know, the East Coast would bring the music. You would actually have to go to record shops or record pools. You would go through stuff, and how expensive it was. So would you give us a little backstory on what a DJ would do in the 80s and the 90s when there was no digital?
Yeah, and this was before record pools too. So you know, we go to places like the Warehouse, crazy one.
We're one of the
OG warehouses right now, right here. But it was the Warehouse and Tower Records.
Tower Records.
That's like, and those were hard because they only got certain amount of records in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you had to know the day that they got their deliveries, and know that person at that store. You know what I mean?
And were you buying? Were you buying doubles, like two of each? So you were
if
spending.
If I could afford it.
So on one song, you were spending about $20.
Yeah, I mean, they were like $4.99 a 12-inch or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that added up quick. You know what I mean?
And the minimum wage at that time wasn't that much.
Yeah, I mean,
$4 maybe, $3 or $4.
Yeah,
cost of living was different back then.
You know, so yeah, it wasn't an easy thing to get. And then you had the equipment, so DJing wasn't. Everybody wasn't into that because they didn't have the money for it.
Yeah.
But I was blessed. Once again, I'll rewind. The person who came out, my brother-in-law's friend, I would ride my bike across town just to watch him. You know, they dropped me off the first day, but after I saw that, I'm like, oh no, I'm riding my bike.
Pulling up.
I'm pulling up, you know, every day. You know what I mean? In the summer.
Where's he at today?
He's back on the East
And he's
Coast.
still DJing?
Yep, Charles Gatlin.
What's up,
is his
Charles,
name.
What's up,
man?
Charles? Is
He's
he
a
still
Blessed us.
producer. He produces. He still DJs. They got a big crew on the East Coast, producing house music. He's a big house music DJ.
Yeah.
He came from the disco, almost the disco club era back then. You know what I mean? So because I did that and I rode my bike over there during the summer, when it was time for him to go back to the East Coast, my brother-in-law bought his turntables from him because that's where you got all the equipment back then. You
Were
had
these
to order.
Techniques or were you wearing
These
some
were
Geminis?
Techniques. They were
Geminis.
Techniques SLD1s. I'm gonna put this out there with a Gemini mixer. That was my start.
The 4-channel mixer, or the 2?
Nah, no, was it? No, it was a 2-channel. I believe it was a 2-channel
And the knob
or a
and the knobs
3-channel.
and the knobs were up and down, right?
Yeah, and I had it had a fader. It had a fader and the up and downs. It was a silver. I'll never forget. It was a silver plate on the top of the Gemini mixer, and so my brother-in-law paid him for his 2 turntables and his mixer because he was like, "Man, when you get home, just buy you a new pair,"
Mm-hmm.
because they saw how much I was into it, and so he did that, and then Charles, the DJ, left me with one of his crates of records.
Oh, that's a blessing.
And said, "Here you go." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
here's
Put in
your
your
start.
work.
You got 2 turntables. You got a crate of records. And he went back to New York, and it was all me at that point.
Oh,
And it's been all you at that point.
Yeah.
Dude.
So to this day, we keep in contact on social networks. You know, he's still a big friend of the families. And yeah, man, him, Cool T especially. Cool T took me under his wing for real.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I mean?
ride with his son all the
Yeah,
time, man.
PBT. What up,
Hey, PBT.
what up,
yeah, shout
PBT?
out.
Pretty
But,
boy Terry.
yeah.
yeah, cool.
Hey, and he gave me clean fades and tapers in my
Yeah,
life.
that's
You know what I'm
what-
saying?
that's what you gonna
I
get,
used
huh?
to. It's been a minute, but man, he's
I ride,
Yeah.
OG, solid
I
cat.
ride with
Yeah,
him all
man.
the time, man.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
ride bikes. All right, bro. So we touched on your DJ crews. Now we move into the West Coast. We move into the artists. You've been DJs for everybody on the West Coast, on the southern part of town, right?
Yeah, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, The Dog Pound, Warren G, the East Siders, and Doggy's Angels.
Wow.
And the
213?
213 crew, and the new NWA. Wow, how many jobs did I
That's
have?
a lot of jobs. Bro,
10 jobs,
wow.
man.
That's
You
crazy.
know, I'm not a lazy DJ.
Not a lazy DJ.
You
And you
know,
were
and-
also part of the biggest hip hop tour
Yes.
that's ever hit. That's ever
Up
hit.
in Smoke?
The
Up and Smoke tour.
tour.
If you weren't there, we can't even talk about
Yeah,
it.
we can't even talk about it.
Yeah, man.
That'll
that
be a whole
was
extendo.
incredible. I really enjoyed. I love the way Dre thinks. He plans things out. He just doesn't do whatever. He's a master. He is a mastermind. So when it comes to putting together shows, I learned a lot from him. What song should go first and why and this and that. And I bought new technology to him at the same time because I'm a techie guy,
Yeah.
right? So I would go link up with companies and to try to see what they're working on. What's the new equipment you guys are going to be coming out with? I was looking ahead to the future, and I was introduced to a company called Denon, and Denon was about to release a mini disc player that had a pitch control on the mini disc, and it was a dual mini disc player. So
Wow.
it had 2 things, and they had a pitch control on it, and I thought that was cool. And I was like, "Hey, Dre, we need to. I have something I think we need to use." People were using the instant replay machine. It just had buttons. You hit
Yeah.
the button, the track plays. But I was like, no, because Dre, if I'm DJing with records and we're performing, he speed it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Do you,
Like a lot of artists.
when you speed it up, do you always go up to 2 BPMs?
No, it just depends on the feel of the song.
okay.
And I'll adjust it with Dre. You know what I mean? Tell me when it's cool. Faster, a little faster. Right there. You know what I mean? I mark it. You know what I mean? On my playlist. So every song I had a, -3, +2, or whatever.
Dope.
And it would speed
Those
up.
were
you
the
know what I
secret
mean?
ingredients to the
Yeah,
live shows.
Yeah, because a lot of art, well, some artists don't know this, especially the new artists, they just press play on their song and they perform it.
Right.
But the artists that really know and get it in,
Yeah.
they'll mess with the pitches and
Yeah.
speeds on
Yeah.
the record. You know, more
Energy.
energy.
Yep.
Get through the set a little faster, keep that energy up.
Ooh, this is a
So
bar.
I bought that to Dre and it blew. He was like, "Whoa!" So now we're able to do it without records. We don't have to worry about the song skipping, and we got the speed that we want. Yes. So that's the kind of thing I brought to the table for him to be able to be that mastermind, and then us talking about songs, song structure, and what should go next, and all that until we actually put the whole show. So if you watched or you were there to see the Up in Smoke tour,
Yep.
every single sound that came out of those speakers was me
For the whole entire
for the
show.
whole show, except
Man.
for their microphone. All the sound effects, everything. When the skull's talking,
Yep.
I'm
Wow.
controlling all of that.
Wow.
I even bring out a wireless guitar, right? But at the beginning of I Just Want to F You
Mhm.
with Devin, how it
Mhm.
comes out with the
Yep.
guitar riff.
Dun, dun,
All of a
dun,
sudden,
dun,
I'm on
dun,
stage.
dun.
If you see the Up in Smoke DVD, they throw me the wireless guitar. Boom. Spotlight on me. Dun, 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 dun. And people are like,
What a trip.
Wow,
what the
man.
you
I'm
know
gonna
what I
have to
mean?
go back and
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
That-
know, I
that-
can't I'll
that
be
tour
here all
was
day.
way ahead of its time too.
Way ahead of
because
its
they
time,
had
man.
a whole little movie skit on it
They had
too.
It
everything.
started.
They
this
brought
is
on a
Dre.
64
This
convertible.
Is Dre. This is Dre. Starting the show with a movie. That's him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not doing a regular show. I don't do anything regular.
How was it? How was it getting all these artists together on there? Because not only are some of them are a little wild, but getting, bro, how many people you guys had on tour? Artists? Was there like at least
Artists, and the homies.
and the homies?
And
the
homies.
homie security, right? Dude,
Bro,
that was
wild.
an experience in itself.
Was it
Taking
was
the
it
homies
headaches?
on the road, like to manage that. You know what I mean? To be, if you were the tour manager or whatever, and you had to keep all that stuff together, can you imagine? You got Crips, you got Bloods, you got you know what I mean? Everybody, you know. Hey, dude, it's pins and needles sometimes.
Negotiators out there.
But that's also what, when you're looking at gang violence, you're looking at black on black crime and stuff, and I guess it pisses me off, right? But during that era, that death row stuff, where we were out there traveling the country, fools wanting to test us in different cities. Oh, y'all rap that stuff on your raps.
Mhm.
Y'all really, you know what I mean? At the concerts, after the concerts were over, having to deal with that, people outside our tour buses, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
So to see Suge orchestrate and keep all that together, you know what I mean? So he on the Blood side, and he had Snoop with his guys,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To keep them in line. But what was really cool, dude, is when we were in those instances,
Mhm.
that was like, ooh, wait a minute. These dudes came together. It wasn't about Red or Blue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's how I know something can be done, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things could work. I don't have the solution, but when it came down to it, I saw these dudes side by side.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it counted.
Yeah.
So, I'll give it up to Suge for that, because he orchestrated that and brought them together and let them see each other for each other without
Yeah.
the color.
Yeah.
That was an experience.
Right now that you brought up Suge, Jam, a lot of times we hear a lot of negative stuff about Suge, right? But you've painted a different picture than me. You've told me like, hey, you know what? He used to get us together on Thanksgiving and take care of the families.
Kids, food drives.
When you talk
all
about
that.
the positives on Suge, like your experiences.
Yeah, to me, and I talked, I've told people this too. Suge was like a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
And I'll say that because, the negative things that you hear stem from the West Coast not getting respect. Let's start with them trying to get the deal for the chronic, for the stuff that, so they were going and contacting labels or whatever, and they weren't trying to hear them. They were not trying to hear us like that, right? So Suge, being Suge, you know what I mean, would go up in the label, you know what I mean, and kind of take a different approach. and like, you know, hey, you guys gonna listen to us. You know what I mean? At all costs. You about, you know, and made it happen with Jimmy Iovine at his side. And that was the mastermind, Jimmy Iovine, to take the strength and the power from Suge, but come in with the understanding on really how to do it. So with Jimmy Iovine and Suge together, as they made everything
So
happen.
without that, we probably would have never had the Chronic. We never had 2001.
Might not have ever happened because they were not trying to give us a deal.
How many artists? There would have been a whole entire coast that would have been heard of because
Yeah,
of that.
because they opened the flood doors, right? When they got the deal for the Chronic and it blew up,
Mhm.
yeah, it changed everything.
It did.
It changed everything as far as artists getting deals, and it also changed the music frontier.
It did.
The East Coast started getting more musical. They
Yep.
stopped
More
sampling.
melodic.
Yeah,
Yep.
more melodic, singing on hooks and
Drums.
and all that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Wow. It
And,
changed.
Yep.
and you
It
would be
did.
like, wait, did Dre produce that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just made a big impact on the whole industry as a whole.
Man, I got so many questions.
Me too.
I got so many, like I feel like I
So-
could live on this topic just
so,
for a minute
yeah.
because
Jam, and you were there before the Chronic album, the
Yeah.
first Chronic album dropped.
Yes.
What
which is like 92,
What
right?
was your experience?
91.
What was your experience? Your take on that? Because the first thing when I walk into Jam's house, it's a big picture of Dre, Snoop, Jam, and I think it's Daz and Corrupt on there in Japan.
Oh, in Japan.
In
Yeah,
Japan,
that was
bro.
our first
So
time
young.
in Japan.
So
yeah,
young.
dude.
Dang, I didn't even think about
Bro,
like
and,
overseas.
And Jam's got a little bit of say on the Chronic album. I'll let him say which song it is. I mean, I'm sure he's got more influences, but there's one specific song on there that doesn't sound like the rest of the songs, and Jam's got some influence on that.
Yeah, my first actual contribution in the studio was a song called "Smoking Blunts and Drinking Tanqueray." Right. And that was on the B side of I think it was Little Ghetto Boy on there
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you listen to the guitar riffs on there, that's what I contributed. So you know the beat, doon 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 doon. It's like boom, 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 boom. That was my first contributions.
Wow.
And then later, working on Doggy Style, I introduced Dre to. Are you guys familiar with DJ Gray Boy?
Of
Yeah, of
course.
course,
San
yeah.
Diego, right?
San Diego Gray Boy
Okay.
All Stars.
Okay. So back in the day, I would hook up with Gray Boy and I would go to his spot in his house in North Park.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing a lot of beats back then. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so he would invite me over from time to time to listen to his stuff. And so I go over there and he play, you know, different his sample riffs that he did, and I would give him input like, you know, that's dope, or hey dude, you should make that intro longer, you know, whatever. And you know, just lending my ear.
Right.
And after that, Gray Boy came out with a instrumental album. Never forget. That instrumental album from Gray Boy made a big dent in hip hop. I don't know if a lot of people understand this. If you go to Gray Boy's, I can't remember the name, but it's a beat album that he did, and it had to be
What year
around
was
the
it?
90s
90?
because it was I bought it up for the Chronic.
It was like probably
So,
like midnight, like mid
It might have been
90s.
89, 90 because
Oh,
the
really?
Chronic was 90, 91. So it had to be used. Well, no, Doggy Style was 94.
Yeah.
That's when I used it. So early 90s. Yeah, you're right. 91, 92, around there.
Mhm.
Gray Boy had this album.
Yeah.
That album had samples that were used for different songs in hip hop that you might pump.
Pump.
There was two songs that used that riff. Pump was one of them. I can't think of the next one now. But Tribe Called Quest used it. Warren G used it. So many people
San
use this.
Diego
Wow.
again,
Listen to the beat in Pump, and then you hear Tribe Called Quest. You hear all that, but that came from Gray Boy's album. I
Wow.
bought that album up. You know, no, take that back. I didn't bring the album to him because I don't even think the album was pressed yet.
Right.
I bought a cassette because I got a cassette from Gray Boy.
Dub.
I bought the cassette to the studio, and that's where he heard it. Like, whoa. Then later went to the record store because he had released it as a record, and he got the record and then he sampled it. And yeah, so
That's dope.
Gray Boy, dude, had a lot to do with
OG Gray
Doggy
Boy,
Style.
man.
I would have
People
never
don't
known
even
that.
know.
No.
People don't even know that.
Man,
Gray
another
Boy.
thing that I've had conversations with my compadre about some of your contributions. So there's a rumor on the block that a notorious rapper from East Coast, rest in peace, rapped over some West Coast beats at one
Yes.
point in time.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Talk to us about Christopher Wallace.
Okay. So back then in the 80s, when I was doing the mixtapes,
Mhm.
right?
Damn,
My
so much
mixtape.
history, bro.
I know,
Like,
Notorious
yeah.
B.I.G.
I
I want to
story
keep
coming.
I want to keep writing stuff down.
Yeah,
So
you know,
it's getting a little-
hey, I try to warn people when they interview me, dude. But okay, so back in the 80s, dude, 1984 is when I released my first mixtape.
What the-
1984. Um, Dre was doing mixtapes in LA, right? And in his mixtapes, at the beginning of his mixtapes, he did like a 3 to 5 minute master mix. Okay.
Yeah,
Where he featured little cuts and scratches of the songs that were actually going to be on the mixtape.
right.
And he also put one of his MCs rapping on it, whether if it's Ice Cube, Eazy-E, they rhymed
Mhm.
before at the beginning, and then it went into a 3 minute to 5 minute master mix of
Right.
songs just cutting and beats riding underneath, crazy. Then he would go into the first song and go into it. Then you flip the tape over, the set, and at the beginning of the next side, it would be the next Eazy-E
Mm-hmm.
doing the intro. Then he go into the master mix into the tape. So I used to hear that, and man, I was gassed. Like, this is
Dope.
it. So I got me a couple of MCs here in San Diego. Shout out to Hip Hop and Kip, and shout out to Cute and Clever. And I put them in Black Mikey because I started doing gangster mixtapes. So he was the one rhyming on those. So you can look those up. That's history right there.
What up,
But
Mikey?
Yep, but I kept doing those, and when I moved to LA, I still kept it going. And those cats in LA heard my mixtapes, and he was like, "Whoa, these are like Dre's classic." And actually, they sold Dr. Dre's mixtapes at a place called the Rhodium in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That was the only place you can get them in LA.
Slim
that
Records,
was
right?
Steve, right?
Steve Yano.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. So I went to the swap meets out here, Kobe swap meet, Spring Valley swap meet, and there was a dude selling Dre's tapes. With he had a music booth where he had cassettes and all that, right? But he sold mixtapes, and he was selling the Dr. Dre mixtapes. He would buy them from Steve Yano and sell them at all the swap meets out here. So I would go there to get Dre's tapes. I wasn't going to the Rhodium first. I would get them here. And then so I started studying his tapes and started doing what he was doing, right? And then I went back to the guy that was selling them at the swap meets here, and I'll be like, listen to my mixtape, right? I remember it was like the third mixtape I gave to him. I did an end of the year master mix because Dre was doing the end of the year master mix. And that it wasn't just a 3 minute, 5 minute master mix. It was a master mix all the way through both sides, right?
Wow.
Yes.
And
So,
you would print these cassettes,
Yes.
or like one by one, or you take it to like a factory to get it done.
at first I was doing it myself. Okay. First I would turn in a master to the dude at the Spring Valley swap meet.
Yeah.
After I gave him one and he was like, "Whoa, I did an end of the year master mix." He was like, "Man, I want to sell this. Can you, give me copies?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have a dub machine, but I'll sell you a master." Right? So I was bringing him, he would buy a master from me, not the original master.
I
but
got you. I got you.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I got you. Your
James
master.
my
Yeah.
master. And he would press them up and sell them at the swap meets, right? And that's how I got my name in San Diego all over, because it was gold platinum,
Wow.
selling mixtapes. You know what I
Ghetto
mean?
Gold.
Right, ghetto gold. So even so much that the dude was like, "Hey man, you need to be selling these in Los Angeles," right? So he blessed me. He was like, "I'm gonna hook you up with Steve Yano." And I just heard his name on the mic on Dre's, and Steve Yano, just give us one more tape or whatever. So I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you need to go talk to him." So I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna give you his number. Get his okay. Give you his number. Call me next week. Blah blah blah. Called him. Gave me Steve. Talk to him. He wants you to go up and see him. Right. So I drove up by myself to LA. You know what I mean?
Dang.
And with that end of the year master mix that I did that he liked, and I met Steve. I gave him the tape, and I got Dre's tape, whatever ones that I didn't have, bought all those up. And Steve Yano called me during the week, and he was like, man, I like this. I want to start carrying this along with Dre's tapes up here, right? So that's what happened. And I would sell him a master, and he would dupe them up. So that has happened, and then all of a sudden, because of that, word got around, and there was a record shop called Target Records out here, and they were originally from L.A. They
Mm-hmm.
had Target Records in L.A.
Yeah.
But they came down here. So my mixtapes were selling at the mom Paul record shops out here too. C.W. Dean, shout out to C.W. Dean's.
Dean,
You know what I mean?
man. Wow,
So
dog.
C.W. Dean's on Target, Fam Mart, all the places
Mart,
in
yeah,
Fam Mart
China
had
Man,
mine. Yeah,
yep.
Chinaman, all of them
Yep.
had mine, selling like hotcakes. So they heard about it in L.A. Then all these record stores started hitting me up because On Target started carrying them in their LA stores. So word got around. I don't know. They got back to me. Next thing I know, also, it was a big DJ in the Inland Empire who was doing mixtapes, but they weren't like mine. He was just basically putting the song. You know, he really didn't know how to mix that well, but he had the Inland Empire on lock, right? So
You know, remember who that DJ was?
Cisco, that was his
Cisco.
name. Cisco, DJ Cisco, never forget.
Dang.
Boy, we had some
Jeez.
times because we ended up connecting. Because I went to go deliver one day, you know what I mean, and I would see his Cisco mixtapes up there too. But one day I did a drop off, and he just happened to be there in the Inland Empire, and we connected. He was a real cool dude, no hatred, all love. He's like, man, I'm gonna get you into some of my other shops that I got too.
Wow.
So dude. I was a
Damn.
record label before, just for my mixtapes. You know
Record
what I mean?
label, A&R.
You know, you hear Ice-T talking about the old school mixtapes and
Right.
you know, all that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's what I was doing. I had
Yeah.
the old school volume 1 through 5, and it blew up in Los Angeles
Yeah.
like nothing else.
Wait, those are your mixtapes?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are old school 1 through
Yeah.
5, dude.
So-
Those are
Where,
mine.
where,
So
where can I get those
And
today?
you can't.
You
until
can't- good luck.
Until well,
Can I
dude,
get them from you?
check
or?
this out. I get people hit me up till this day.
Yeah.
Every year, nonstop. When are you going to release your old mixtapes?
Man.
Dude, for the past 20 years.
Yo.
Right? And I feel bad, but when I do it, I want to do it right.
I love
You
that,
know what
dude.
I mean? Like
love
I don't
that.
just throw it. No. So I'm
Jam's a
gonna,
perfectionist.
I get
I
this
like
from
it.
Dre, dude. I get this from Dre. That's
Wow.
why it takes Dre so long to do albums and come out with an album because
Yeah.
he doesn't care about deadlines.
Yeah.
I feel
You know
like
what I mean?
Dre is all work and no play. Like he's not the
Really,
kind of guy that you're
he
gonna hang
don't-
out with. Like,
yeah, he doesn't do too much hanging
like,
out.
I
His
feel
hanging
like
out is in
people
the
want
studio.
to hang out with him all the time, but then when you hang out with him, he's like, oh man, I was thinking a whole different experience.
Yeah, you're musically, you can hang out with him on the music tip, but
Yeah.
like just hanging out, like let's go. Nah,
How many
do that.
sessions were you in with Dre, bro? Like how many song sessions? You sat down with Dre and like watch what he's got.
I can't even, dude. That was like every day.
And you were there. You were there with
We're in the studio right now, huh?
91 to
You were there.
Shoot.
Who were some of your favorite sessions to sit in on?
I mean, what do you mean?
Artists like, hey, you know what? Oh, Nate Dogg's he's in the studio today. I want to go sit and chill with Nate. Or
Well-
Warren G's about to work on something. I want to go kick it with Warren G and see what he's got.
Well, it wasn't really like that. Everybody was always there.
So was it whatever unfolded?
That's how it got so big. It wasn't one person sitting there with an idea, right? I'm sitting here. You just say something. Why don't you do this or blah blah blah? It's everybody in the room. Somebody might have said something, and Snoop might have wrote it down in his rap. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It wasn't just it's Snoop's session, and then it's just like Snoop Dogg and
Collaboration station.
No, it was everybody in there.
I don't want to steer way too off about these mixtapes because I want to make sure we close that out. So the mixtapes, bro. Did you ever have any? Because they weren't obviously original music, right?
Yes.
Did you ever have any issues?
I already know where you're going.
Hey, can I get? And I have another question to a follow up after this.
Can we go there with that? Or
Yeah, of course. That's
Okay.
a whole nother story, dude. You ready? Here
Yeah,
we go.
let's go.
Here we go. Okay.
Hey, we got to make sure we get this documented, bro,
Okay.
because this is history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey, this
yeah.
is it. This is it.
And we
So-
still got to get the biggie.
Oh,
Biggie.
yeah, that's what I was gonna close it off with.
We didn't even hit that yet. So I'll never forget. It was Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving, and all my cousins and everything was at my house. You know, dinner, Thanksgiving, everybody's hanging out, and the TV's on. You know, everybody's talking, and you know, like when programs are on, they go to commercial, and then it like the news update.
Yeah.
Like coming up at 5.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to talk about this. Well, we're all sitting there, family. All of a sudden, the TV coming up at 5. Local raid of pirate mixed, pirate music, whatever they said.
Yeah.
And it flashed and it showed the feds coming in, the Fam Mart and whatever, like taking the tapes. You know what I mean? And the whole house got quiet. All eyes on the thing, dude. I'm sitting there like right in front of the TV like this, looking, and dude, my heart just went into my
Yeah.
stomach. You know what I mean? My brother-in-law was there, everything. First thing my brother-in-law was like, we got, and I had a house, I was renting it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A house. He's like, we got to go over there and get that stuff out. I have my duplicators, all stuff there. They were like, we got to get the stuff. I didn't go, but they went to my house, got all my stuff out. We put it up. I can't remember where we put all my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And that happened. And I'll never forget, I had homies doing what they do out here,
Mhm.
right? And they looked out for me, to make sure I was out of trouble. My homies didn't want me on the block. I would
Nice.
go try to hang out and like start getting dark. Jam, you need to go make that next mixtape. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
was the
kick
one that
rocks.
came around. Yeah, you know what I mean? Go back home and work on that mixtape. So that kept me out a lot of trouble.
That's a trip
But
for us. It was the opposite. It was like, no, you're not going there. You're not working your radio for free.
Yeah.
What a trip.
So one of my guys, when that happened, I reached out. I was like, man, and he found out, man, you all right? Like, man, I need to get a lawyer. You know what I mean? Oh, I got you. He paid for the lawyer and everything. Go
Wow.
see my guy. His father's a retired judge. Da 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 da. Like, cool. Went downtown on one of them high rises. You know what I mean? Met with the dude. He's like, going over everything. And basically called in, like, I'm representing blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
I have a retainer, all that.
Mhm.
And basically, dude, at the end of the day, um, there was somebody at VIP Records in Long Beach. There's two brothers that ran that,
Yep.
right? One of the brothers, they arrested him for piracy. And that was around that same time, right? And they made an example out of him and gave him time, right?
Wow.
So, and that just went down like right before. So I was like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I was a good kid, never had anything on my record. I was in college, right? All that helped me because when, in front of the judge, this guy's saw me, my school, whatever. I didn't know. I'm just making a mix, back
Yeah.
then. And,
Mhm.
you know, get this. The one thing that I messed up on, is I accepted checks from some stores. I should have just kept the cash.
Damn.
They saw all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they saw how much you're getting
Yeah,
enriched. You were
yeah.
getting that bread, so they saw they had
Dude,
numbers.
and that's crazy because, dude, they knew girls' houses I was hanging at.
Damn,
Like,
bro.
There's wasting
dude,
resources out here. You
yeah,
just
like
playing, listening
really,
to
I'm like, you guys
music.
have time to follow me, or like they knew, you know what I mean,
That's
all that, and I'm
crazy.
just like, whoa, so that put
I
me
did
up on a
not
lot of
know
game.
this.
That put me up on a lot of games because I was like, if they're doing that with me, you know what I mean, off of this, I can imagine how they're following other people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's a trip.
So
Wow.
yeah, so I had to pay a little fine for the money, but
That was
no
that.
time, slap on the wrist, stay in school. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Off of
So,
music.
What
off
a
of
that's
mixtapes.
what a trip, huh?
Off of music, man.
So now mixtapes. Now we started off the question with Biggie, right? You worked on a mixtape with Biggie.
Hold on a second.
Okay,
Hold on a second. Because can you hold that thought?
let's
Yeah,
go.
We're gonna
yeah.
come back because I'm about to say something that's gonna trip you out too.
Okay.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. You gotta get
Oh,
you
No,
want
we
the full
doing it. We
story.
here.
You want the
Surprise,
full
we're here.
story, okay?
Hello.
Surprise, we're here.
So check this out. This is crazy how the universe works. So I told you I was in school. I'm in college. I have a speech class, debate, speech,
Mhm.
whatever. You know what I mean? So I take that telecommunications. I'm a DJ, right? So I take this class. The first day of class, we had to get up one by one and introduce yourself to the class.
Mhm. Mhm.
Talk.
Yeah.
So I get up in front of my turn. I get up, tell everybody, yeah, I'm a DJ. You know, DJ clubs around town and events. Da, 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 da. And as I'm talking to the class, there's a guy sitting like right there, and he's got this look on his face, like when I'm talking. You know what I mean? I'm just
Mhm.
kind of but he's like, you know, has this puzzled look. And I get finished, whatever. Class is over. We're walking out, walking to my car. get a tap on my shoulder, turn around, it's that guy, right? And his wife. His wife was taking the class too. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But so he goes, man, you're not gonna believe what I'm about to tell you. And I'm like, what? He goes, you're DJ Jam, right? I go, yeah. He goes, dude, do you know I was the officer assigned to your case?
What?
Oh, come on.
What?
Dude, I
What?
cannot make this up.
What?
Dude, are you kidding me right now?
That's an average
Wow.
people's story.
Dude, he had to take the class because taking that class would have put him up in the ranks for a promotion. That's why he was taking the class, dude.
Man, see how God works? That's
So,
wild.
so
You won't win the lotto,
so
but
he
that'll
goes,
happen.
Dude, so he goes, yeah, man, you know, I really felt for you. Like I wasn't even trying to even pursue it. Like I was taking my time doing my other stuff.
He gave
was
you the
like,
411?
he goes, if it wasn't for them hawking me, like, hey man, it was probably the RIAA,
Yep.
you know, getting on
The
them.
money.
Yeah. What's going on with the case? What's going on? So they pressured him. And that's the only reason why it went, wait, you know what I mean?
What a
Then
trip.
pursue it. But he was like, I was ready to
Wow.
let that go. Because I knew you were a kid. You know what I mean? I saw all your stuff. You're in school. You're not trying to,
Man.
you know what I mean? So I'm like, whoa, dude. So, and then he goes, he goes, so man, me and my wife love music.
No.
Do you still got those mixtapes?
He's like, you got any more of them mixtapes?
So hey, so the next class that came around, I
You blessed
blessed
him?
him with
Ah!
I was like this.
That's funny.
Like, oh, I remember this one. It's
That
like, yeah,
is
I bet you do.
dope.
Dude,
Had a couple
my
kids for
life,
those mixtapes.
dude.
What?
Yeah, so
He's like, I gotta go
just-
arrest this
dude,
kid, but turn that
You
up.
know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, dude, that's just one tidbit of telling you how my life story is. You know what I mean? Crazy things happen like that all through my life till today. So
It happens to us too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's average. It's super,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why, like,
Right.
that's what we would classify as average. It's like things like it's an average lifestyle, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
people, unless we're here in these settings and these scenarios, they probably would never
Bro,
understand
so
it or
many-
believe it.
So many things
So many
happens
things.
to us.
Yeah, and like you'd be
for
like,
example, this where we're at right
yeah,
now.
this story, this thing having DJ Jam, us doing average people 10 years later from
10
when it
years.
first birthed.
And we
Yeah.
kept thinking about it like, nah, that's not the right fit. Like we're thinking of different.
We try
Yeah.
to force it.
It didn't happen until one day we're like, oh, let's just do it. You know, I mean, there's been tons of stories, bro. We'll go places, and all of a sudden, like we won't even have a ticket, and somehow we'll like end up backstage,
Bro,
Like,
so
How
wild.
did that just happen?
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
just from the top, you know.
Yeah.
But again, like man, and dude, thank you for your transparency, dog. Like,
Yeah.
and straight up, because you
It
know
needs to be documented.
it does, and this is an amazing thing, and especially this piece for me, and this is just for me being a hip hop fan. Like, I always knew, and you see interviews with Biggie talking about how he was inspired by Dre and Snoop and the
Yeah.
album, and he knew that was not his adversary, but he knew that was like the standard and the precedence that he was trying to attain and the
Dude.
level. And like
Dude.
when we heard Biggie over hip hop beats, it kind of blew our mind in two perspectives, because hip hop was already kicking the door, waving like on that
Right.
Mad Super Cat, like
Right.
he was already spitting, and it was like, yo, this dude is spitting. But then when he was rapping over West Coast beats, it's like everybody out here was like, yo,
Yep.
that's dope.
Yep.
And like, come to find,
for
Yeah,
the
man.
young generation. Go and do
Yes.
some research on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Notorious B.I.G.
So
got Dre beats from what? Wait,
yeah.
And
So,
there were
The
Snoop,
bangers.
Dre, there were
Yeah.
the bangers.
So that's you know, once again, that's why I talked about my mixtapes, because that's basically what set the tone for that. The people at Bad Boy representative that was in L.A. Shout out to J.C. Ricks.
Wow, OG.
He contacted me and was like, "Hey, Jam." At that time, Biggie had only done like one record, and that was the remix of 411 with Mary J. Blige, right?
Banger.
So that's when people first heard Biggie, but that's all he had done. And he hit me and he's like, "Hey man, you know, we're gonna be releasing the album on the Notorious Big from the 411 remix. But we need people to know who he is. You know, people know him out here, but not on the West Coast. You know, and we heard your mixtapes, how
Yeah.
you're throwing your MCs on the mixtapes and you're doing your thing. You know, can you do something like that for Biggie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You know what I mean?
Was this prior to the West Coast East Coast feud?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was right before.
Okay.
It was right before all that happened. So he goes, so we can fly Biggie out there. You know, we'll send him out there for a week. And you have a studio you want to use? Oh yeah, Steve Yano's studio, because that's my manager.
Yeah.
All right. And
Wait,
that's a
Steve
whole
Yano managed you?
dude. Okay.
Ah, man, you're changing the
Okay, hold
subject.
on,
No,
hold
no,
on,
Changing
hold
the
on,
subject.
hold on, because it could, dude. No. Okay, hold on, because we did miss out on that one part. Hold on. So remember when I told you I went to see
Steve
Steve
Yano and you met
and I
him?
got him my mixtapes.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
selling mixtapes. Okay, so that was years before.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Now let's skip years.
VIP?
Later. Years later. Let's skip years later. I moved to LA. Right, go to school, transfer to Cal State Dominguez. I link up with Dre and Snoop and everybody. Right, Dre wants me to be his DJ. All this. I'm still doing the mixes. I'm in LA. They want me. Oh man, who am I gonna? I don't know who is gonna represent me. Steve Yano. That's right. He's connected with Dre because the mixtapes and Quick and all them. I call Steve. Hey, it's Jam. I live in LA now. I'm going to Cal State Dominguez Hills. And Dre just asked me to be his DJ. And da-da-da-da. What? Man, Jam, good to hear from you. We go link. You know what I mean? I told him I'm still trying to do, because I'm on the radio in LA too. And so we started doing mixtapes of my radio mixes, you know what I mean? And putting them out right at that time. And so he was like, well, who's helping you? I was like, can you help me? I don't know anybody out here. He was like, yeah, I got you. Right. So when Dre was asking me to start coming to the studio to work on the Chronic, I pop up with Steve Yano. I didn't say anything to Dre about that, right? So Steve comes in, walks in the room with Dre, and after I had already solidified me being the DJ for everybody, because I met Dre over here and I met Snoop over here. The only thing they had done was deep cover, right? I met Corrupt first in San Diego at the Greek show from a friend that went to San Diego State that saw me doing the parties. He would always come up to me, hey man, Jam, I love you as a DJ. I'm from LA. You got to meet my homeboy Corrupt. Corrupt is dope. Blah, 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 blah. This is before the Dog Pound. Corrupt was doing verses for the SOS band. You look up their old albums, Corrupt is featured on a couple of those songs. Dude. So that's why he's in LA from Philly. You know what I mean? That connection. So he's in LA doing stuff with the SOS band, right? So he goes, yeah, I'm going to bring him down. So he was saying this to me for like a year and a half or something. You know what I mean? Every time the parties at Montezuma Hall, San Diego State.
Right.
After a while, I was like, all right, dude, cool. You know what I mean? This one Greek show weekend, when everybody was down, and on the last day on Sunday, they give a big picnic on the football field before everybody goes back home, right? I'm DJing this event. I'm up on the stage. It's packed. DJing. All of a sudden, this dude that keeps telling me he's going to bring Corrupt is at the side of the stage going like this. I'm DJing. I'm like, you know what I mean? Oh, well, okay. I put my headphones down. I go walk over to the edge of the stage. Hey, remember I was telling you about my homeboy Corrupt? Yeah. This is him right here. Right? And I looked at Corrupt, and I looked at him like, are you really Corrupt, dude? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Corrupt is quiet. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And back then, dude, like when I was at parties and dances, they didn't want to hear an MC rap. Like, you know what I mean? We want to party, you know. But I was like, dude, you done pumped this dude up so long to me, I'm about to put him on the spot.
We about to find out.
And if he ain't real, you gonna look bad, right?
Man.
So I gave him the mic. Come on, right? Never forget. I put on Hold On by In Vogue. And I start cutting the beginning. Doom, 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 doom. Bringing it back. Do you know Corrupt must have freestyled for 10 minutes straight.
Dude.
And the football field was packed. All you saw was people in the audience with their mouths wide open.
Just blown away.
Like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I was recording.
And you have those tapes.
I used to record those parties because I wanted to, at the dances, I used to record them. So I got this on cassette.
Wow, dog.
Are we ever gonna see? Are we ever
Never
gonna?
did anything with that.
Dog,
You
Are
know
we
what I
ever gonna
mean?
get that?
see,
Oh, you
see,
will.
see, there's
That's why
so
I
many
said,
questions. I'm like
that's
back
what-
here trying to fight
dude,
questions.
There's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen, and we'll talk about this later. But
Yeah.
some things are gonna. Looks like when I get back to home,
Yeah.
when I go back home right now, I'm having a meeting,
Woo.
and if this meeting goes great,
It's gonna go great.
Yeah, I'm speaking positivity in the future, man,
thank
because
you,
we need
thank
this
you.
stuff, man.
Because if it does, this is the key to everything. The reason why I haven't stepped out there as DJ Jam really yet is the fact that I don't have that right social network team behind me, and I'm not doing it without that.
Mm-hmm.
I met all these people that so-called are social network people, right? And they weren't that guy, not from what I have. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been years, dude. I've been trying to find the right set of people to tell my story
Yeah.
because I have so much footage.
Yeah, we're expecting for this stuff to happen, man.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And Jam, let's finish off this mixtape, bro, so we can move on.
Okay.
So the biggie, because we're gonna talk about your VHS collection too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that you got, bro. Like everything that you
We haven't even talked
documented.
about the collection.
Bro,
So where would we leave off
Okay,
on Biggie?
so
Just finish
basically,
that up.
yeah, so basically, the rumors are that Biggie, wanted to get exposure on the West Coast, and you were talking about how the representative from Bad Boy on the West Coast
Yeah, got at me.
got at you and was
that.
like, "Yo, what studio can we take Biggie to?"
Yes.
And you were
So-
like, "Yo, I'll take Biggie to Steve Yano's studio."
So they pulled up with Biggie and Little C's. Little C's was with him, and came in. Biggie had they had a box of blunts, so you could buy the whole box.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
He came in with a whole box of blunts and a whole big bag of weed, and he was like, he asked me to roll. Can you roll? Because he didn't know how to roll, whatever. Start rolling the blunts.
Was the
And
West
then-
Coast smoking blunts at this point?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so I go, just trying to come up with the idea, and I go to Biggie. I go, hey man, I was like, how do you feel about West Coast beats? Asking, I just wanted to know, you know what I mean, before I gave him my idea. He was like, man, I love the West Coast vibe and the beats and Dre's beat. He was like really sincere. You know what I mean? He wasn't. I just could tell he wasn't just saying it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. What about you rhyming over West Coast beats? I'm with it. It's like, let's go.
Dope.
And that's when I went to work.
Dope.
Taking a few beats from our crew as well as like Above the Law.
Yep.
And
The Black Superman.
yeah.
And like, man,
And,
bro,
and
there was so much.
So my idea was like, okay, I'm gonna make it like a radio station, and people are gonna be calling in the station asking to play Biggie songs.
It was an
right?
amazing concept, man.
Yep. And I said we're gonna split it up though into segments, and we're not. And I want to do a song, because it wasn't even about doing a song, just the mixtapes with his songs, right? But I'm like, nah, I'm doing it. I'm taking it here. We're gonna do a song, but we're gonna split the song up into 3 verses. We're gonna split them up in the project, so it's just not a song, right? So somebody calling the radio station, I want to hear such and such, such and such, and such and such, right? Okay, then I go into the first verse of him freestyling over the West Coast beats before I played those 3 songs that they asked for.
Yep.
Right. And then after the 3rd song, it go back to the next caller. You know what I mean? Which I have my co-host on my radio show as the personality, and I'm the DJ behind the glass.
So, yo, is this DJ Jam?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so that's what was going on. And then I go into the 2nd verse, and then I go into the 3 songs that the caller asked for. So that's how it was. So what ended up happening, which is they tell me it's the biggest bootleg record in hip hop, right?
Dang.
They had to take those 3 verses and put them together. From that project mixtape, put them together and then press it up. And they were bootlegging that all over the world. And I did not understand until me and Snoop started hitting the road. Because Snoop likes to go to the record shops to get classic oldies. That's his thing, right?
Yeah.
So we'd always go to every record store shop around the world.
And dig.
And when we go there, guess what would be up on the wall?
DJ Jam.
Bootlegs of the song I did with Biggie. And they were
Amazing.
tripping out that I was in there in the shop, You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
that was unannounced. We just showed up just because we were in town.
Yeah.
Where's the record shop? You know what I mean?
Yep.
'Cause they were like, "Oh, can you sign some of these?" And here they always give them to me. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I got a stack at the house like this of just that record. That was just
Wow.
done by all these different people. So
Wow.
that's a little history.
Did you
but
know
yeah,
that
that's
Biggie
great.
was gonna be what he was at that moment? Did you feel that vibe from him?
I felt the vibe, but I didn't know where it was going to go and how big it was going to be.
When was the
But
last time you saw Biggie?
the night he was killed, I was with him.
What?
Dude. Okay.
Beto gives me the
So-
look like.
so, Because I mean that's great. Because I
Rest in
wouldn't have
peace,
mentioned
man.
it. I'm
Rest in
glad
peace.
you guys are good because you guys bring up these things in a stunning
Well,
mind. You know what I mean?
I
But-
know Jam, so I just throw it out there, and
Yeah.
if he wants to go with it, then we you know.
So they say, I say I was there responsible. One of the ones responsible for people knowing Biggie all over the world, right? That was great. But I was also there when he was taken away from us. So I lived in Hollywood. They called my house the House of Rap, right? Because all the artists that would come into town from New York, from down south, you know what I mean? No matter who it was, and they smoked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they needed a safe haven. You know what I mean? So the record labels, we're going to take you to Jam's house. And I had a roommate named Truly Odd. He DJ'd for Everlast, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were roommates. So all these artists, when they come in town to New York, they bring them by my house and drop them off
At the House of Rap.
at the House of Rap. They would get their weed, borrow weed, and being able to ingest music and what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And be able to chill out.
Check the
You
pulse
know
of
what
the
I mean?
vibe.
Check the pulse
Yep.
and just chill, right? And then you have people like Redman that would come to town, and he would come through, answer the door. He'd be sitting there with a shoebox full of 3.5 floppy disk.
Reggie Noble.
Because he produces. He makes beats. So he wants to come over, smoke, and make beats in my studio. So I'll give him the studio. Yeah, come on. You know what I mean? He'd be in there getting it. You know what I mean? This happened every week. You know what I mean? At my
What a
house.
trip.
The who's who will be
Dude.
there. The record label execs will be there.
The
They see the whole,
A&Rs, yeah.
they see all, it was the House of Rap, right?
Wow.
So yeah, dude. So where
You were
where we-
Biggie. We were Biggie with the night he
With
got.
the night he passed.
So that one of the House of Rap houses, Bad Boy Arista came and picked me up in a limo, right? Because the party was down the street from my house in Hollywood at the Auto Museum.
At the Auto Museum,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? On Wilshire. So they came, pick me up. Biggie and them met there. So they just came and picked me up. Went to the party. We're in a party, having fun, smoking with the stars, Vivica Fox, and all of us. Everybody having a great time. Then there was a party in the Hollywood Hills, so we were all going to go to that. And Jermaine Dupri, the Brat, they were there too, and they wanted to roll. We were all going to follow each other. So we came out of the place, and they had a what do you call it? End around where you come in this way off the street, driveway. Like if
Like
you're
a
going to pick
cul-de-sac
somebody
kind-
up,
yeah.
if you're going to pick somebody up, so you turn in off the street right here. You come, you pick them up, and you go out this side.
Like
Mhm.
a valet almost.
Yeah, like a valet. But then right here, it was a covered like little parking area, right? So came out, limousine is in the parking area waiting. So we all get in, and then Biggie and then we're waiting on their Suburban. Jermaine Dupri's and them Suburban pulled around. They got in, and then they just went out and on the street, and they just sat there waiting. So we're sitting there waiting on Puffy's Suburban. It comes, I'll never forget. I had a bottle of champagne, and I'm out of the sunroof of the limousine, just chilling, with people, talking,
Spraying
whatever,
people or
whatever,
what?
just talking, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. Biggie and them Suburban pull up, which is just like right there, where that cheer is, right?
Like 10 feet,
You know what I
15
mean?
feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 20 feet or whatever. So I'm like, okay, ready, getting in. All of a sudden, dude, his car pulls, I'm not even looking at the car, but the car pulls up next to him and just lets off right there. You know what I mean? I'm like facing this way. That happens. Next thing I know, I got a bottle of champagne. Next thing I know, all the reps pulled me in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The champagne goes everywhere. All you hear was skirt, cars skirting out, blah, 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 blah. I'm not even knowing where's going, what's going on. Happens so fast. And the limousine pulls out of the little parking area on the street and pulls over. And we're just sitting there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting for something. Phone goes off, cell phone, one of the record reps. And they're saying, Biggie's hit. We got to go to the hospital. You know what I mean? And so so they go in the Suburban, we're behind them, and then Jermaine and them were behind us, going through Hollywood
Smashing.
to Cedars-Sinai.
Cedars, yep.
Cedars-Sinai. By the time we get to Cedars-Sinai, the police were out there because they have a street that goes this way and the one goes that way, and in the middle it's a grassy area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we come down this way and then cut in, and the police block off everything, and we pull up in the emergency, you know what I mean, right there, and we're just sitting waiting, and they take him on up or whatever, and we're sitting there for like had to be like 45 minutes to an hour or something, in the limo.
Wow.
Phone goes off again. Biggie didn't make it.
Wow.
It's like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. The rest was a blur after that. That was so crazy, dude.
Dude.
And we had just been on doing all that bonding. We were cool. You know what I mean? Like
Going back to Cali just dropped.
all that.
He was
And it
about
just,
to life after
dude,
death.
that was the most. After feeling was just crazy. It was just like hip hop is dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
everything just stopped, kind of. And then you already, that back and forth East Coast,
Yeah,
West
with
Coast,
Pac
just,
already.
But I was the one in the middle of all that.
Did you catch any slack from it?
I didn't. And I was like, dang, like I can't remember if I might have mentioned it to Snoop what was going on, and he gave me a blessing. It's not like, oh, why are you working with them? You know what I mean? So
And Snoop was cool with him, right?
yeah, Snoop was cool. Nobody had anything against, but I thought like if anyone would have said something, it would have been Suge, like
Yeah.
don't mess with them or whatever. But I don't know. They didn't come at me.
Well, it's the way you carry yourself too, bro. You know what I mean?
like-
it's the way you carry yourself.
And I was on the radio, like I was the big jock on the radio.
Yeah.
You're in the mix.
Yeah, in the mix. And that's one thing I never even had a conversation with them about that. You know what I mean?
There's
Crazy.
footage of them rapping together on stage, like
Yeah,
Corrupt
yeah,
and Snoop
yeah,
and Biggie, like
yeah.
in like
Yeah, dude, it was mostly the fans that did that escalated that, because they weren't trying to kill each other. Like it was all their boys and their, that type of thing. That's what did it.
yeah.
What a trip.
My apology,
Yeah.
compadre. I think I cut you off.
No. Jam. So you, speaking of Biggie, we owe you Pac, bro. You talked about all everybody on death row except Pac. You get a chance to DJ for Pac and work with Pac, or was that short term?
No, we did a show. I think House of Blues. Maybe
You were at the House of Blues, the one that like we all see on YouTube. That's
yeah, I
that
think
show.
I was there. Me and DJ Pooh, were at that show. But I never DJ'd a show like just for Pac. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was kind of a lot of people performed and guest appearance at that show. But I was there at the studios with him working on albums.
At Death Row Studios? The compound?
At Can-Am.
Yeah.
Can-Am Studios. And I was able to witness his work ethic firsthand. And it is like no other. Like he'll have 4 studio sessions going at once, right?
Yep.
So he'll have a producer in each one. So he'll start at the first one, put up the beat, go in the booth, one take. Then he'll go to the next studio across the hall in that studio, play the beat, go in, go to the next studio. You know what I mean? Same thing. Next. Then he'd go back to the original first studio. That guy would have the next beat up. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Dude.
So a lot of the records that we got are one takes.
Why do you? Yes. Why do you think Tupac had so much music coming out after? They're like, he ain't dead. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why.
And it was only like an 8-month span or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
within
It was
a
like
short period of time,
8
he
months.
did more than people done in their whole careers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't just do it because it was there, but he was adamant about it. Like if you weren't fast enough, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And to get his guys like, you know, his outlaws and all
Yep.
his guys would be
Mhm.
there, and he'd be orchestrating that. Like he'd go in the
Yep.
booth, do his verse, such get in
General.
there.
Yeah,
He
straight
was
straight
a
up general.
straight
Like,
general,
yep.
dude. Straight general. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow,
I had the
dude. Like,
opportunity to link up with a couple of the outlaws and had conversations with them, and they would talk about how, like, if you could finish your verse before Pac and it was dope, you was on the track.
yes, exactly. That's how it was. What you got? Boom. Next, you go in there. Like, dude, they were making it happen.
Yeah, man.
You know
That's
what I mean? It wasn't no homies, you know, sitting there smoking blinds,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, all hanging.
Yeah. There's footage
No.
of him saying, like, we could do this later. Right now, we
Yeah,
got the
right
dude.
now we
Let's
got
go.
it.
Throw
We
the
got
track on. Let's
hey,
knock it out.
hey, money is happening right now. You
Hey,
know what I mean?
hey, Jam, you were talking about being at Can-Am. Did you ever eat at that barbecue spot, Dem Bones?
Dead bones?
Dem, like
Dem
I
DEM.
can't remember that.
The only reason why I asked is because my brother Jay, what up, Jay? He went to Santa Monica College for a
Mhm.
short period of time, and he was a delivery driver at that restaurant,
Huh.
making money.
Uh-huh.
And like they would always order from that restaurant, and he would tell me about walking into the studio,
Oh,
and he
that's
would try
crazy.
like to not like, you know, interrupt or whatever, but that he would see everybody
Right.
like in the mix, like how they
Yeah.
had like a studio here and a studio there and a studio
Yeah.
here and a studio there, and everybody just
Yeah.
working. And it just right now when you were telling us that story about Pac, like it just made me think about that scenario and situation, man. There's so much stuff.
Bro, I got
There's
my
so
note.
much.
I put all my notes down. I was
Bro,
like, I need to.
yeah, because there's so many things, man. Like, go ahead, I yield to you, bro. Because there's so much documentation right now that is taking place that people don't even understand, and we haven't even scratched the surface.
Two people are responsible in my books for bringing reggae to America. One is Makeda Dread, and two is one of DJ Jam's family members, man. If you give us a little backstory on that, Jam.
Yeah, so my cousin is a singer, Johnny Nash, who's responsible for I Can See Clearly Now. I Can See Clearly Now. The rain is
That's
gone.
dude. That's like a perennial hit.
He taught me the importance of what one song can do for you. I mean,
Wow.
he's had other hits, but this one song, I mean, I've seen checks that he's framed that he never cashed from royalties. You know what I mean? Like, just because
He didn't have to
had
cash
it on
it.
the wall. You know what I mean? He didn't have to cash it. But you know, that taught me a lot about, you know, people in the music, you know.
So
do
he
it
was a
because you
crooner,
love
and
it. He was a crooner, like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah,
so he
like the
wanted
Rat
to,
Pack.
he wanted to study Rastafari, so he moved to Jamaica. And my grandmother and everybody thought he was crazy. Like, what? What are you doing that? So he moved to Jamaica so he could write and study Rastafari. And right after he was writing, he needed a band, you know what I mean, to practice with in his music. So he went around and asked some locals, you know, hey, is there a good band out here? And he sang for them, and they were like, whoa.
He already had the big hit.
No.
Okay.
This is before
Okay.
all
Okay.
that. So they were like, oh, you need to well, wait, he had already made a mark, but not his biggest mark yet.
Yeah.
Because he changed musically. So he went out there, wrote, needed a band, sang for some people. They took him to the Marleys. You need to meet the Marleys. They're a local band here. You know what I mean? They're really good. So they took him to the Marleys, introduced him to Marleys. He sang for the Marleys, and they were blown away.
Wow.
And they were like, yes, you know, who'll be your band? It was Bob and, you know, some of the other musicians. So they started writing. He did his albums, but then was come time for him to record the album. Johnny recorded in London, in the studios in London. So he took Bob and his family to London to record in the studio. They had never left Jamaica.
Wow.
You know, they were poor, didn't have any money. Took them there, blew them away. They were like, whoa, you know what I mean? They recorded the album. After the album was done, it was time to tour, right? So the Marleys, hey, we got to go on tour, the album, right? So they toured the U.S. So the first time they set foot in the U.S. soil was because of Johnny Bottom as the band. Now,
and this
at
is your
Johnny's-
relative.
Yeah, my cousin.
Yeah.
So so at his concerts, right, Bob and his band would open. Right?
Dude. Come on.
I'm not making this up.
Come on.
Not making this up. And then they do their set. Then Johnny would come out and Bob would back up with the band. And that's
I can't with DJ
Then-
Jam no more, bro.
Then Johnny went and got them their record deal. and the
Trip
rest
out.
and
It's
the rest
history.
is history.
We're still living in the history
So,
of that.
so
Dude.
like, so when people know this, they're like, wait a minute, you should be the biggest reggae DJ producer ever. You know what I mean? Right? Would have been easy, but yeah, that's the truth.
That's a little bit of history on that.
Man, dude.
So yeah, you can read in some books I've read. I know I have some, not knowing the name, but it's documented. By saying, Johnny introduced him to all that, and I'm glad it's been put out there like that.
He sowed the seed, and Bob. I mean, obviously Bob and his talent with his group, the Wailers, and what they've done.
Yeah.
But it's so dope that to hear that these stories are connected, and it all has like connections here.
Yeah.
Connections.
And I never use that as a DJ to get me somewhere.
But you never
Like
needed
when
to
I-
because
like
you
when
got
I
your
met-
own
Me too, my
trajectory.
guy.
When I met Snoop and Dre and all that, I didn't tell them any of that
Because you met
I
them
just-
separately.
Yeah, and I met them separately, but I didn't tell anybody anything about Johnny or me being related to him or anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just wanted them to accept me just for being a good DJ,
Yeah.
and then I could talk. to
The
them
rest
later.
is a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Type
yeah.
of thing, and that's how I kept it like that.
Yep.
And so Johnny passed away like early last year or whatever.
Rest in peace.
And thank you. And at his funeral, and this blew me away too, but people flew into the funeral, 2 representatives from the White House, okay, in the Capitol, and they came and they presented the family with the flag that was flown over the Capitol, right?
Wow.
The only people that they've done that for, like black, was Martin Luther King.
Wow.
What a trip.
Whoa.
That dude,
That
That's
just
deep.
shows the
That
significance
blew
and the impact.
me away today.
Yeah,
You know
bro,
what I
you're
mean?
blowing me away right now.
Bro,
And
Jam.
and so before
Dude.
that happened though, I was telling my father, like, hey, we need to go to Houston. That's where he lived.
Mhm.
We need to go to Houston and just stay out there for a few weeks, whatever. And we need to get Johnny's story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If we do it a little bit at a time, whatever, till we get the whole thing. But we need this as a family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking family first. We need
Right.
his story so we can pass it down to the family so they can know the real deal, because Johnny never got to tell his story. You know what I mean? He wasn't all that. He just liked his music and he loved his horses, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that. My father was finally like, okay, we're going to do it. And he became sick. Like, he might have been a little sick then. And we were like, okay, when he gets better after some time, we're gonna do it. And
Yeah.
he never got better, and that happened. So
Were you able to record something at all?
interviewing with him,
Yeah.
no, we never
Nothing.
got to
Man,
go out because he
man.
was sick. So my stance now is, okay, my story needs to start there instead of me with Snoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get that out first,
Yeah.
and then we'll move into all that.
Yeah, that's
So-
important. That's
so,
an important piece.
Yeah. So, it goes back to me having the right people to tell my story, because those are just pieces of the whole story too. You know what I mean? And it has to be done right, the right way, through a professional group that knows what they're doing. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, hopefully in the near future, it's about to start. Like, I got companies talking to me from like Netflix,
Yeah.
VH1, because they know I have 2 boxes of footage from our early days when nobody had a camcorder except for me.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Trip out on that.
Bro.
I have footage of when I discovered Little Bow Wow.
What? Oh my God.
Oh, sorry.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. That was
There we
another
go.
story.
Hey, we're dang, Jam, hold on. Rewind. Hey, Jam, so real quick before we get into the Bow Wow, bro, do you want to touch base on your pops and the importance role that he played in today's technology, or you want to skip that?
Whatever you want to talk about.
You tell me, bro.
Okay.
Because I want to get into Khalil and all that, just because we're on family right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So,
Do you want to
a
touch
lot
that,
of,
or
a lot of the reasons why I do what I do and how I do it when it comes to being a DJ is because of my father.
Man, amen.
My father being the head of, sales and marketing for Hewlett Packard Computer Corporation. Right?
Oh, okay.
And so,
and just so you understand, they worked this from the beginning. Like,
yeah,
Dad
like
didn't land
from
his
back
job,
in the,
or
yeah,
he was like
from
his
back in the day.
HP
You know what I
is-
mean?
he worked it.
before Apple and Macintosh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it was just
Wow.
PCs, right? So my father had a vision though, because when Apple or Macintosh or whatever started doing what they're doing, my father paid attention. Like, wait a minute, this is a different type of programming, different type of computer, different type of language. You know what I mean? And the thing was with Apple is they wanted to make a platform that was very user friendly, easy for the consumer. So that's what they were about. And my father fed into that, like, yes, that's needed.
Right.
Something easy for the consumer.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
So they would have their sales presentations meetings at Hewlett Packard, right, where all the reps would get up and say what they did for the quarter, right, and their numbers, right, and they hitting these numbers up here. We did this,
right.
Popping their collars, right? And then my father would get up there and do his presentation, and his numbers would be here. You know what I mean? And he'd give his presentation, and they'd be like, "All right, good job." You know what I mean? And my father was like, you guys just wait. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, Apple blew up. And the company was like, "You're the president of sales and marketing."
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Your dad was the president of sales and marketing in Apple?
You're leading that division, you know what I mean? So my father was that guy liaison
in the beginning?
To the beginning with Mac that believed in them. So
like Apple IIe days?
So if you watch the Steve Jobs movie and all that, like my father should have been playing a part in that movie.
Wow.
Because he was the one that believed, that made the connection, right?
Wow.
So that's why, dude.
Sales and marketing.
That's why I am the way I am. Business.
I could see that now. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, dude. I'm not taking any away from DJs or the profession, but I'm not the average DJ in how I think. I'm thinking business and bigger. Than DJing. You know what I mean? But DJing is a platform that's going to take me here and there. So that's how I look at it.
Wow.
And go into things.
So we talked about Jam's history. We talked about his parents' history and
relatives.
And his relatives, his cousin, and it don't end there, bro. He's got his generation. He's got some super talented kids, bro. One of my all-time favorites, and I love his son, bro. Like, his son is not only super cool, super talented, but he's easy to talk to. Sometimes you meet artists that just don't understand, or they don't want to hear you out. They think they know it all. His son, bro, soaks up game. He's super talented, and he just, if you meet his son, he's got the vibe. He's a full package, bro. We're gonna talk about Khalil Nash, man. I love Khalil. When it comes to supporting artists, man, I'm always there for Khalil. Like, hey, man, everything, whatever he posts, bro, I'm like, dude, I love what you're doing, bro. All the time.
That's so dope.
And let's talk about Khalil Nash.
Yeah,
dude.
he's into his music. He's a producer, songwriter extraordinaire,
guitar player,
performer, guitar, little keyboards. And he does, I would say his music is like alternative, Post Malone meets Prince meets, Prince big time.
I see the Prince vibe. I feel the Prince vibe, man.
That's his
very talented.
Biggest influence is Prince and Jimi Hendrix.
Dope.
And that's his vibe. If you look at just his whole aura, his whole dress, his whole everything, he's got that look, and it's genuine.
It's genuine.
So dope.
I that was one of the first things I asked him when I met Khalil. I was like, bro, are you big on Prince? He's like, no, why? Like, he's like, yeah, I love him. And then like once I talked to him, it was just like, bro, no, that's him. That's his style. Like, if Prince wasn't here today, that's still who he would be.
That's so dope.
Yeah, like he just met El DeBarge the other day, because he does El DeBarge's music, and he was there at the venue where he performed it, and he blew him away. Took pictures with him. El DeBarge posted my son and everything. So people are tripping right now, hitting me up like, your son with El DeBarge.
That's so dope,
and he's working with 1500 to Nothing.
Yeah, 1500 to Nothing production group in L.A. He's working with Andra Day, who's actually from San Diego. Man. So she gets him in the studio to create with people. He's an L.A. dude, getting it in with like a lot of the big
1500, man. Just them alone. He's doing what they're doing over there with the Music Academy. So much stuff, man. He's tied in with the right people. And he's such a talent, man. He's such a light, man. It's dope.
Yeah.
And Khalil's just like Jam. They don't. Oh, the Jam's my dad. Like, he doesn't use any of that. He doesn't. He's doing it.
You don't need to,
bro. He
really don't need to.
His music is just dope. Khalil Nash, you got to go check it out.
Check out Khalil Nash on Instagram and see what we're talking about.
Jam, we talked, we talked family, we talked, your DJ background, bro. You got tons of endeavors going on right now. You got into the crypto. You're getting into building motorcycles. You're getting building. Talk to us about what's going on.
Which one you want to start?
Where Jam is at right now? What are you really like spearheading right now?
R&D.
Okay. Okay, well, there's a few of them. Okay, so first, let's talk about animals.
For those folks that don't know, what is R&D? What is
Research
R&D?
and development.
Research and development.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said research and development. One of the things I'm doing right now is researching and developing electric quads, right? Customized.
So motorcycles,
quads.
off-road motorcycles, like the quads.
There's a company out there called Razor.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of these electric cars for kids,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And they made a quad, 4-wheeler quad for kids, right? And parents were buying them for their kids, but when they get them home and they saw their kids riding them, they're like, "Oh, these things are cool," and they could actually get on and ride them, and more like in one of the little cars they couldn't fit in.
Right.
But they can sit on them, so they really loved them. And I guess the word got back to Razor, like their parents ride them, videos on YouTube. So they made one for teenagers and adults, a bigger one, right? So how it all started was I was looking for something for my backyard because I have a big property, right? And so when I'm working in the backyard, I don't like to walk from this side way over there, and I forget something, and I got to walk way back over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I got to do something. What can I do? Oh, I can get me a little quad. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
Like a 150 or something.
Yeah, like a little quad, just so I can get back and I could pull a cart.
Yeah.
Right? So I started going on OfferUp, and I went on YouTube looking at quads, and I saw these electric quads, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, electric. Man, that won't make any noise. You know what I mean? And so I started looking at electric quads on YouTube and started seeing people modifying and tricking them out, right? So I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, stock, they go like 12 to 15 miles an hour or something. Mm-hmm. But some guys are making them go 60 miles an hour.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, they're getting it in, right? So, and then putting lights on them, stereo, Bluetooth stereo,
hooking it
all
up.
that, hooking it up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing, but I want to take it a step further because I'm like, man, these could be better than, but they're just doing whatever they're thinking, right?
Right.
So I'm like, man, I'm gonna do that. So I started buying them, and then I started investigating my own parts to replace the parts that it has on it to make it better. So basically, at the end of the day, the only thing I'm using really is the frame and the plastic body.
Everything else getting modified.
Everything I'm modifying, everything, tricking it out.
You're de-engineering it and replacing.
So my first thing is I want to re-engineer it and put it out there as a test to see, how people react to it, which is crazy because if I ride them around my neighborhood right now, they stop. The parents, the kids stop. Oh, I want one of those. The parents are, where did you get this?
Yeah.
Oh, making these. Oh, let us know when they're finished. We want 3 of them. So I'm like, whoa, okay. I'm on to something.
Onto something.
And so I'm like, okay, let me continue to do this. And then it was the baseball World Series or playoffs of the World Series this year. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there watching the game. The Philadelphia Phillies are on.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, the mascot, the Philly mascot, comes out on a gas-powered quad around the whole the baseball field.
Mm-hmm.
Riding.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, I can make one of these for a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm already knowing that because they're electric, they give tax breaks to the businesses that are doing things electric, right?
Yeah.
So that's a tax bonus. And then I'm like, I could do one of these for the Padres.
For the fryer.
I make a Padre quad with the Padre, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can just get to them and say, hey, I have an idea for you guys. This is Padre quad I just built. And they should be like, whoa, right? But I'm like, you guys have somebody throw out the first pitch, don't you? At the games, home games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, instead of them walking out, what if they come out on your Padre quad? That's electric. You guys are doing something good for the environment.
Yeah.
It's a win-win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And you'll get some tax breaks for your organization.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now,
this.
too, because the San Diego County has pushed an initiative to turn everything into 2035. Well, the state of California, but there's also a big initiative in the San Diego County for it to push to electric.
Yes.
And so there is definitely opportunity for that.
Are we all for electric?
So this is up for debate, right? I mean, I want a Tesla X. I'm not going front. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if I could afford it, I'd probably be pushing one right now, like straight up.
The biggest thing for me is one of the reasons why I'm holding back as far as electric car is because if I was just living in a city, if I just lived here in San Diego,
right,
I would get an electric car that wouldn't, you know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, okay. But because I travel back
Yeah.
and forth to Arizona, to,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I need a car that I can go all the way without charging.
Yeah, in
I'm
rural
not trying to-
areas.
I'm not
So
trying
what
to
happens
charge
if we have a
halfway.
blackout, or if like there's just no
What do you mean?
if we ever have a blackout?
Well, it depends on how you charge. It depends on how you charge. You know what I mean? Because
Well, in the state
there's
of
ability.
California, aren't the generators legal? So how would you charge here? You just got one charge once you run out. That's it.
It
No,
depends.
I
Like you
would
could
think-
charge at
I
your
would-
crib. You could be
yeah,
off the grid. You
Yeah,
could,
but
there's
I'm just
there's
saying,
different
what if
places.
we had a blackout where you just no power anywhere?
Right.
Like anywhere in the world.
I mean, it's happened. It's
Yeah.
happened in San Diego when we
Yeah.
had no
There-
power.
Yeah, it was. I remember that day. It was like 15 years
So
ago.
Yeah,
what
we
if-
were just talking about that.
Yeah, I was
But
downtown.
yeah,
It was
that
the
could be,
whole-
that could be,
When
that
do
could
they-
be
I know,
crazy.
because this
My
is a
bad.
good. That's a good.
Yeah, but
That's a great question for debate.
But I'm probably sure that they're going to have something for that. Just like they have generators to power.
Yeah.
If they have power stations for cars around
Right.
the country, especially in the middle of a desert,
Yeah.
they're going to have some place that
Yeah.
that's going to have a generator. that's-
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And there's a product right now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There's a product right now in Europe where it has solar panels on the vehicle, and they're starting
Charges.
to push the needle really quickly. And that was kind of like an idea when the Teslas first dropped. I was like, how come they're not solar panel driven? Like you could be in the
Yep.
sun and park it in the sun and catch a vibe.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now
those are they're self-charging too.
yeah.
So some of these charge as you're driving,
Right.
too. So that's a good
What a
thing.
trip.
that's happening.
Man, there's
Jam,
a lot of science
Talk
behind
to
it.
us about building the homes you got.
Oh yeah. So there's a new technology out there and a new way of building homes, stronger than the conventional home. You can drive a truck on it, and nothing's going to happen to the structure. It won't burn down if it catches fire, because it's flame retardant. So if something catches on fire and it burns a little piece, they just cut the little piece out and replace it, and it's brand new again. Also, it's twice as good as far as insulation, so it cuts your
Energy efficient?
Energy, yeah, it cuts your bill like in half. Also, there's no wood and there's no nails, and you don't need painters because it's mixed into the outer wall, the color. You pick your color on the outer, and you pick your colors on the inside, and it mixes in with the cement or whatever. So if it doesn't chip and there's another color in it, it's solid. You know what I mean?
So you basically, yeah.
So and if a house takes 5-6 months to build, you can build this in 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So and it's like the cost to build is like 40 cents on the dollar. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
And this is the house that you have? This is how you built your house?
I'm doing the blueprint right now for the first one we're going to do. And then we're going to use this as a model to sell them. So we're just going to buy a lot.
Bro,
build
Jam
the
is a
house on it.
visionary.
Dude, this is what I do. So buying a lot, put the house on it, and sell it. The amount of money that you're going to make is way more than you just flipping houses.
Jam, where do they follow you if they wanted information on all this stuff, man? Or who they contact, or social media?
You better
my
just follow this dude
social
ASAP.
media, because I talk about a lot of stuff. I'm going to be. That's why it's real important for me to have this team behind me, so I can put that out there, so then people can see it and maybe ask questions. So it's got to be done right.
Your Instagram is at DJ Jam DPG.
Yes.
So,
So
bro,
yeah, it's called Sabs though, by the way, and hopefully I'll have my house done by the end of the year after I get my permits. So
that's wild.
yeah.
And since
So
we're
dope.
on this business conversation, talk about your nonprofit and what you do.
So like we said before, it's the Community Hands Network.
Yep.
First program is a DJ mentor program where we teach all things DJ radio to the kids, and the second one is animal habitat and petting zoo. And that's going to feature turtles. Before it was like pigs and everything, because I have pigs and all that. But my focus now is rare turtles and tortoises, and I breed rare turtles and tortoises, Indian star, Sri Lankan, and Burmese star tortoises, and box turtles. I have Eastern boxes, three-toed boxes, Chinese boxes, and ornate boxes. So I have 4 different types of those. So I build enclosures, crazy enclosures, you know what I mean? Things like that with heated enclosures, humidity regulated, all that. I get it in and all that. So
And that plays an important role on their growth, right?
yes.
Because they grow how big? Like bigger than a regular tire?
Well, I have a sulcata. That's the big guy. He's like, this big named Dusty.
That's
But-
like Gypsy
but-
Hustle, right?
Yeah, Gypsy the same.
Yeah. So my star tortoises are Indians who get like this big, Sri Lankans get like this, and the Burmese are about like this, and their shells are crazy. It looks like bursting stars. So yeah, they're rare. And then like I said, those and box turtles. The box turtles, Chinese boxes are extinct in the wild. They're my rarest ones that I have. And yeah, man, I'm into that. I'm building a whole turtle tortoise land kind of area in my backyard with, couches, TV, all kind of low. You can just lounge with.
Dope.
So before I build the house, I'm in the process. When I get back, we're about to lay down the footing for a shed, and it's going to be the shed where I keep all the babies because they're in that regular house right now in a room, but. I'm gonna build a kitchen shed. It's gonna have a full kitchen, refrigerator, everything.
Yeah.
I can prepare the food, and the inside enclosures, heated and all that, are gonna be there. And we're gonna build it out of the material that we're gonna actually do the house, so we can mess with it already.
Dope.
Yeah, he's building a room for me right next door to the tomb.
Yeah. Can you make it? Can you put a bunk bed in there so we can finish this conversation?
You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So hopefully. They'll be having babies. The tortoises are still young. They're like teenagers right now, so
Okay.
they're not ready. My box turtles should be laying eggs this spring.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm getting prepared for that. But yeah, turtles and tortoises is one of the business.
Hell yeah.
Where do you find all the time?
It's called Stars in Boxes, by the way. That's the name.
Oh, that's dope.
Right. Come on, man.
That's
Everything is thought out.
dope.
Everything
That's
is thought out,
dope.
dude. Stars in
That's
Boxes.
dope.
That's wild.
That's
All right,
dope.
and to close the extendo here, man, we said we're gonna talk about Bow Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
it. We said before we get into all that, we need to talk about the business. So Bow Wow, bro.
He said I discovered Bow Wow is what he said.
that's what led to the conversation.
Yep. Yes, sir. So
How did that happen, man?
1993. I think it was the first show. Might have been the first show of the Chronic tour that we did, and that was crazy, dude. Because I think it was the same tour that we were on tour with Run DMC.
Dang.
Right.
During the Chronic album?
Yes.
Oh.
The first
Chronic,
one.
The first one, right? And this was the biggest. This was the biggest thing that made me kind of not. I felt kind of weird, because we toured with Run DMC, but we were the headliners.
Wow.
You know,
Who else
for
was on- who else was on that
for
tour?
First Chronic album. I can't remember what are the artists. I just remember us and Run DMC. I know there were other artists on it, but I didn't understand. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to say anything with our crew. Like, dang, how did we get to? You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
it was our crew. Like,
Right.
But inside, I'm a guy before I got with that crew. I'm a DJ, so I'm just like, wow, it feels weird closing at a Run DMC show that they're on too.
Yeah.
So the first day, I'm at sound check, and I'm messing around on my turntables, kind of practicing, because this is the first tour that I'm in front of all these people too. You know what I mean? The first Chronic tour. So I'm up there at sound check. Everybody else is in their dressing rooms or whatever.
Right.
I'm just out there, and Jam Master Jay comes up on the stage, dude, and he comes and introduces himself, and he goes, is this your first tour? Because we were, the group, whatever.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah. And he goes, man, don't worry. Like, just, act like you're in your bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, zone them out, do what you do,
Right.
type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you, okay.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But just
Wow.
from him saying
And
that.
you and him became best, like
Yes.
really good homies.
Then we came
Wow.
homies, but that was cool. He was cool. Introduced. I didn't go to him like, oh, Jam Master Jay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I came and was just really cool about it. And I was like, man, that's really cool, because we're from the West, you're from the East, and you just befriended me like that. So yeah, which leads to So
Well, we're gonna
on that
get-
tour,
it
we're gonna get
starts
to
with
there.
the J,
We're gonna
right?
get that. We're gonna get. We'll go back to the Jam Master Jay thing.
Yeah, because
So on that tour, I believe the first city or two cities was Columbus, Ohio. And once again, sound check. I'm out there with my turntables messing around, and I believe like his Bow Wow's father knew somebody at the arena, I believe, and got him in early. Like they're still setting stuff up on the floor or whatever. And his father comes to the stage in front and he gets my attention. And I go down there and I'm like, hey, he goes, yeah, this is my son. Whatever he said, it wasn't Bow Wow because Snoop named him. This is my son right here, and he can rap. You know, he was like, I don't know, 6 years old, something like that. And I'm like, oh, cool. There was nobody there, so I pulled him on stage, you know what I mean? And I threw on, I don't know, a record instrumental, and he started rapping, you know, and he was dope. This little dude, you know what I mean? And I'm like, whoa. And I stopped the record, and I'm like, all right, dude, like, come with me.
Right away.
I picked up my camcorder, started filming. Took him backstage where everybody was. Snoop, Dre, Suge, everybody's in the dressing room. Dre's got his box. He loves Parliament, Funkadelic, all that. He's got Parliament and Funkadelic playing on the box. We walk in there, and I introduce him. I'm like, hey, you know, you need to check him out. He can rap, blah, 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 right? The first thing Little Bow Wow does is breaks out into a dance routine off of Parliament and Funkadelic that was playing, like, really getting it in, and everybody was like, whoa, look at this little dude, you know what I mean? So he did that first, and then we cut off the box, and they were talking to, Dre was talking to him, and he's like, oh, so you can rap? And he goes, yeah. So he started rapping, dude. Blew everybody away. Dre was like, told his dad, can you go home and pack and meet us back here at the arena? You know what I mean? Went home, came back. We hit the stage, middle of our show. Dre stops the show, brings Little Bow Wow out to rap.
And he didn't have a name yet.
No, didn't have a name. Spot this little kid. This little kid comes up.
Man. In his hometown.
Yep, in his hometown. His first night, spotlight on him. You give him the mic. He starts, you know, no beat, just rhyming. The whole place.
Dang, dude. What?
Yeah. So Dre was like, oh, shoot. Like, even Snoop, everybody was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Go to him, let's go.
And he went with y'all after that.
The rest is history. Every night on that tour, in the middle of our show, Lil Bow Wow walks out, raps, and sing everything, right? So on that tour, one of the cities we go to is Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Guess who comes to the show?
Jermaine Dupri.
And it was Eric Sermon, right?
Wow.
Now, when we picked up him, there was a group called Illegal.
Yep, I remember
right?
Illegal.
Yep,
okay, yeah.
And it was Little Hershey Loke and the other one.
Michael Jackson was behind with them too, right?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Illegal. It was a white. It was a young white kid. And
no. It was a black dude. Both of them were black, but one of them was really black. That was Hershey.
Hershey Loke.
Hershey Loke.
He was real dark.
Oh, my bad. They were down with Def Squad.
Yeah.
My bad.
And then the other one was a light skinned. I can't remember his name, but yeah, it was both of them. So
Hershey Loke was on Chronic album too, on Snoop's album. Yep.
I'm about to get there.
Okay.
So Snoop and them gravitated to Hershey Loke. I don't know how the connection started. Because when we got to Atlanta, Hershey Loke was on the tour bus with us. He was rolling with us, right? So he was in with us before we got to that point, Hershey Loke. But the other member of Illegal was mad because Snoop took Hershey Loke, was all on Hershey Loke, right? And left him out. So he was there in Atlanta too, the other member of Illegal, right? He came on the tour bus when we got to Atlanta. He got on the tour bus. And they start squabbing. Hershey Loke. Oh, they started fighting. We had to pull them apart. You know what I mean? But so Eric Sermon and Jermaine Dupri was there, and we did the same thing. Lil Bow Wow comes out, right? So let's skip. After the tour, we all get back, blah, 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 working on Doggy Style. You know, they send for Little Bow Wow and his parents to come out. They put him in a hotel, and they have him at the studio just so he can take all of it in. You know what I mean? See what's going on and all that. Yeah. So he's just in there every day, just looking, whether you're just watching everything. And then that's when they put him in the booth to do that part. What do you want to be, little boy, when you grow up? I want to be a motherfucking hustler. Like, that was his first time on the mic.
You better ask somebody.
You better ask somebody. So after that, they were like, we're going to do a Bow Wow album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After Snoop, after we finished this. But then Dre fell out with Death Row. Like all during that, like right after the Doggy Style was done. You know what I mean? They fell out. So he was just in LA doing nothing. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, everything stopped. And then I remember being with Dre and we were talking. He was like, dang, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we're thinking, I don't know who brought it up. I might even mention it. I was like, Jermaine, because he had Crisscross and he was in Escape. He was good with the kids. So Dre calls Jermaine and tells him, hey, man, I got, remember Lil Bow? I don't know what they call him. I can't remember if Lil Bow Wow was his name at that point. But basically saying to Jermaine, we can't do anything with him right now. You know what I mean? We don't want him to be sitting. You want to take it? And he's like, yeah. And the rest is history. Wow. So that's why Snoop Coat signed him on his first single, and showed up in the video, video form, and the rest is history.
What a trip, dude.
And to this very day, I haven't received not one penny.
Come on, man.
Come on, Jermaine. Come on, Jermaine. Dog.
Chad Moss.
Hey, Jermaine. We did a show in Chicago a couple years back, bro, and I ate his wings, and he was pissed.
Oh, yeah?
They said that we were in the catering, right? And they were like, oh, yeah, just, make yourself at home. Yeah, it was Jermaine, bro. They're like, make yourself at home, do whatever you want. Just there's food over there. Cool. Bro. The only thing that looked good was those wings. So we went, we thought it was open catering. Right. We get those wings, and I guess he's vegan.
Yeah.
And they were specially made for him.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Those wings were imported.
He talks about those.
Bro, those wings were imported.
They were vegan wings?
I don't know where.
Yeah.
So they're
he was on vegan wings, and he was doing the vegan ice cream thing too.
So Andy, the guitarist, with Frankie J and myself, we're like, oh, cool.
What up,
wings.
rocker?
We ate all the wings. Security comes. He wants to beat us up. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't know what's going on. The promoter said whatever was here, bro, we could eat. Right. He goes to ask the promoter. The promoter's like, yeah. So he comes back, and he's like, man, y'all got to get out of here.
Wow.
Jermaine was so pissed, dog. He was pissed, brother. The rest of the night, I stayed away from all those guys and his big-ass security.
Man, dog, that's crazy. Man,
hell yeah. Hey,
you should have told him you knew me.
Man,
Jam said it was cool.
Jam said I can do it. I get nobody involved in my drama, man.
Yeah, nobody. That's right.
Jam, you became real good friends with Jam Master Jay, right? There was an artist that came out of San Diego that was connected to that. Do you want to go there? We pass on that.
Yeah, I'll touch on it.
Okay, all right. So okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so one night I got a call from Jam Master Jay,
and this is an important piece of San Diego music history.
Okay.
Yeah,
and the West Coast.
Yeah. So I get a call from Jam Master Jay, and he's like, he goes, Jam, I know you're from San Diego. I'm calling you because I'm thinking about signing this artist, and he said he's from San Diego. He's like, do you know this artist named J.O. Felony?
Wow.
Right? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, man, he's dope. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dope artist. All right. I just want to make sure. He's in a hotel room, right? J.O. Felony's in the hotel with him too, in the background. So I guess Jam Master Jay didn't tell him he was calling me at first. He just called me, right?
Right.
And then after I said what I said, like, oh, yeah, he's dope, right? He goes, oh, yeah, I got Jam on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can go ahead and say this. I mean, 'cause we're good.
Okay.
We're good to this day.
Yeah.
But this was years ago.
Okay.
Remember this, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up out in San Diego in a blood neighborhood.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
J.O. Felony's a Crip.
Right.
I wasn't banging though. That's just my homies and
association, right? Yeah.
So in the background, Jam Master Jay tells him, "Hey, I got Jam on the phone. DJ Jam," and he's like, "Oh," he basically said a different word, but basically said, "Oh, that blood."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that blood. Like in a bad way. You know
After you just co-signed him.
I just co-signed him. You know what I mean? I just co-signed you. And Jam Master Jay didn't know what to think.
He was right in the middle.
He was like in the middle. Dude, I felt the tension through the phone. You know what I mean? Dude, like, can you imagine that happening?
Man, dude.
So he was just like, I'm gonna get back to you. You know what I mean?
Smart move. Man, rest in peace, Jam Master Jay, man.
So, the rest is history.
Yeah.
You got signed,
And J.O.'s one of the dopest lyricists.
J.O.
Him and Corrupt are my favorite
Oh
lyricists.
my, lyricists.
Yeah.
Yes, that was great observation. Him and Corrupt, dude, lyrically, hands down, homie. I'll put them up against anybody.
Ahead of their time.
Ahead of their
time, man.
But J.O. just couldn't. How he deals with people. That's where I think his flaw, where he needed help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Snoop took him in. You know what I mean? And then he had some dealings with Snoop.
Yeah.
Like fighting, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff went down.
Unfortunate.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Everything's good now.
Yeah, which is a blessing too, man.
We bike ride all the time too.
You know what I mean?
We ride together.
Yeah.
So this is history, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm glad things are the way they are now, because it's like we can look back at it like, dang, dude, we were tripping.
We were growing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, now it's more mature thing. That's
it's
good.
mature.
Yeah.
And, I appreciate what J.O. has done with the industry.
Same.
And I really hope, that he can make another mark. You know what I mean? Because he's still got it.
Still,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
James Savage project was dope.
You know what I mean?
the
James Savage
dude.
project is very dope.
So I just want, I would love to just, see him be successful in what he's doing, and I hope his future endeavors, do what they.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
Yeah, I love his music, bro, is iconic, and it made a mark for San Diego, especially, and being on the West Coast, signed to an East Coast label is huge. Was it him and Warren G?
Jeff,
the only
Jeff
ones?
Jam, yeah. Warren G was the first one, and South Central Cartel too was on Def Jam
Warren,
West too, right?
Yeah, Warren G was the one who did it though.
Yeah, Warren
Shout
G,
out to
man,
Warren.
man.
He's the one that opened the door.
Bro, I was watching a
I want some barbecue. I want some Warren G barbecue.
Sniffing Griffin's
I
barbecue.
need some.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have some
good,
Warren G
dude.
barbecue,
It's
man.
good.
One of these
Better
days
order
it's gonna
that.
happen. We're gonna get
Better
blessed.
order that, yeah.
I was watching a documentary the other day and not realizing that his DJ, Money B.
Who's DJ?
DJ Warren G's DJ Money
Rectangle.
B. Nah. The guy he's using right now.
Oh, right now.
Yeah, I get. He was there. Snoop was saying that he produced some of his first music before Dre.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, Money B, man.
Money B.
Yeah,
Wow.
DJ
I haven't
Money
met
B.
Money B.
yeah. It's a what?
Rectangle was Warren G's?
Yeah.
DJ repped it like
Rectangle was.
I didn't mean to
repping
interrupt
Warren.
that.
Yeah.
That
Crazy.
thought. Money B is. He's a dope DJ too.
super dope. Yeah, that's the guy that tours with him now. But
Rectangle.
one
Filipino?
one of the
No,
illest.
white boy.
Yeah,
White boy?
White
yeah.
boy.
I thought he was
Rectangle.
Filipino.
Well, I hope Money B ain't the same. No, I can't remember Rectangle. I grew up on those mixtapes, on those vinyls, but I never seen his face. I don't know what DJ Rectangle looks like.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's San Diego, dude.
DJ Rectangle from Diego?
Heck yeah. Like Linda Vista.
I did not know that DJ Rectangle
What?
was from.
Dog.
Dude,
Oh my
what,
God,
dog?
dude. That's
Come
SD,
on,
homie.
dude.
Come on, man.
What?
I
Us
had
San
no
Diego
idea.
DJs ain't no joke, dude.
Hey, Joe Rodriguez.
Joe
Rodriguez.
Jumping Joe Rodriguez.
Let's go.
Hands down, dude. One of the dopest ever to do it on radio, period.
Yep.
And in the club.
Say
you,
that.
All
you,
that.
You and him
But-
were the first representatives on the DMC champs too,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Crazy.
DMC. He was a year before me. He represented 1985. Jumping Joe Rodriguez went to the finals.
For those
dude.
that don't know, DMC, that's like the championship for DJs,
Yes.
turntablism.
Disco Mix Club.
Wow, dude.
Worldwide, every year.
That's what DMC stands for.
competition.
Disco
Wow.
Mix Club?
Disco
I
Mix
never
Club.
knew that.
Yep.
I never knew that.
Wow.
And yeah, dude. And so
Rectangle's from Diego.
back to
know
Gray
that?
Boy, back
Oh.
to DJ Gray Boy.
Yeah.
Because this competition, DMC, came to San Diego.
I never knew
Where,
the DMC
you know,
was in SD.
Because they went to
Yeah,
different
yeah, oh, it's
cities.
been
You have
here.
to win your city first.
Yeah.
And then you go to the regional finals. And if you go from there, you go to the
Nationals, right?
the national world finals.
And they had
right?
those in San Diego?
That year it was in San Diego. The San Diego, and they had the U.S. finals was in San Diego too. So the regional, I had to go up against Gray Boy, and I didn't even find out about the competition. One of my boys told me it was on the same day
Wow.
of the competition. My dude's like, they're having a DJ contest at Carlos and Charlie's. I think it was named, the club Carlos and Charlie's in Mission Valley. Never
Right.
forget that, dude. And they're gonna have the preliminaries at 3:00, and then if you make it past that, you come back at night at the club and for the finals, right? And I was like, what, dude? I had a couple hours to come up with something,
A routine.
a routine, right? Went down there, did the contest, and they take 2 people at all cities, and 2 people to the regionals. So Gray Boy got first place, and I took second place, right?
Let's go.
So then me and Gray Boy go to L.A., Hollywood, Club Tropicana, never forget there, for the regional finals, right? So we had all the L.A. DJs came out, 1580, K-Day, Mix Masters, DJ Aladdin from Ice-T walked in. Oh, they wouldn't let DJ Aladdin in. He wasn't going to get in it because he didn't even know about the competition. He was coming because of,
he didn't even get into Jamaica
my
House
bad,
either.
my bad. Hold on.
Jamaica
Aladdin, they didn't let him in. Ice-T came with his entourage and Darlene, his wife, right, with all his entourage because his DJ was Evil E.
Yeah.
Evil E was in the competition too, right? So I'm tripping out, seeing all, I'm like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, we had to pull numbers out of a hat to see who went first, second, you know what I mean? I pulled last. That was the best move ever. Because them dudes got up there and went in, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
You got to soak it up a little bit.
I got to do something else. I can't do that, my routine that I had planned to go against these dudes, right? Dude, when I went up there and did my thing, I acted like I was in my bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zoned everything out. I did some stuff in that routine that I never even tried before.
Dang.
Dude, on everything I love right now.
I believe you.
Is this
You know what I
documented?
mean?
Is there a video on this?
No, nobody was videotaping
Yeah.
that night. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wish I did. But everything worked, and my needle did not skip not one time through my routine.
Dang.
It's like everything lined up. And me and one of the K-Day Mixmasters, Brian G, won. It wasn't even a first, second place. It was just these two.
Yeah.
Right?
Moving on.
And beat Evil E, and I was like, whoa,
Wow.
I beat, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you know?
Yep.
And so then I went to the finals, back to San Diego, Scottish Rite Temple in Mission Valley.
Mission Valley, yeah.
Finals, went against Bad Boy Bill, who had a big name.
Dang.
He's a house DJ.
Bad Boy Bill?
DJ Cash Money. He had just won the new music seminar. He had the belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mike Hitman Wilson from Boston. I mean, the lineup was heavy. You know what I mean? And I took fourth.
Dang.
Out of like
dude.
10 DJs.
Take that.
Man, that's
So,
dope.
Yeah.
Top 5?
Yeah.
Easy.
Bad Boy Bill won. And you know what contributed to his win? You guys can look this up because they have that on footage. This dude, at the end of his routine, is doing this thing. This dude pulled out his pants and pulls out a dildo that he had strapped in like this long and scratched with it.
That's wild.
And he won.
Dude.
Like, I was like, whoa, dude.
No, the gimmicks will the gimmicks will always get people's attention, dude.
Bro, we didn't even get into the Jamaica House jam. There's
Oh,
so much
Jamaica
stuff to
House?
talk
I
about.
know.
Don't tell me that you
dude.
brought Biggie to Jamaica House,
we're
bro.
gonna have to
You
talk
better
about
not,
this.
man. Bro, we
Jamaica
already.
House,
This is
dude,
extendo,
that's so
extendo.
much- yeah, there's so much other stuff we ain't. I told you though.
Man,
Hey, I told you.
You did say we would be here for a long time.
Hey,
I'm
and
looking
we still
forward.
ain't. There's other stuff we ain't talked about.
No,
Man,
we're coming to the city next.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna come hang out with the turtles.
Man,
and-
yeah. If
yeah.
we'd love the opportunity if you'd have us, man, because this combo,
For sure.
this combo is definitely.
Bro, we didn't even scratch the surface. We're just
No,
like this is
man.
just like
No.
we ain't got into a lot of stuff.
Man, I've been having
the crypto what I'm on now, and that's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, the financial literacy.
The
That's what you were talking
financial
about.
literacy.
And there's so much stuff that we were talking about, like that popped up right now that we could like, and we're like, nah, man, we need to let this. We need to let this breathe for the people out there because this stuff right here, this stuff right here is beyond average, man. This stuff right here is like gems that have been needed.
You know,
Have been
History.
needed, bro.
People don't know that I started Snoop's first smoking accessory line.
He's got all that. He owns all
called
that.
Puff by the Pound. With the company's Puff by the Pound, which is the name, but I can do that for anybody. So the first thing I did was Snoop Dogg's Puff by the Pound, right?
Yeah.
Back in 2003, because at the concerts, we had a merchandise booth that would sell Snoop's T-shirts and hats or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would go buy, I go mingle, see what's going on. I would go to the booth and I would sit there and watch people buying stuff up.
Yep.
Crazy, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there like, dang, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I sell?
Yep.
Right? First thing I said was, hey, Snoop, can I do a mix CD, which was W Balls,
Yep.
and sell it in the merch booth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, go do your thing.
Get your money.
Dude,
Yeah.
I started on the phone calling the company in LA. They print them up, shipping them to my hotel room ahead of time so it would be there by the time we get to that city. And I had to do that because they kept selling out.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Man.
So
Forgot
once
to talk
again,
about
I was
W
going
balls.
once again I was
W
going
balls.
ghetto platinum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Selling mixed CDs at
Yeah.
that point, CDs. And so I was like, okay, what else can I do?
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm sitting there watching people buy smoking accessories.
Dude.
So I go to Stoop. I'm like, hey, dog, can I start a smoking accessory? You know,
Yeah.
we can come up with some items if you like them. Do your thing.
Man, dude, I'm telling you, dude. There are so many things, man, and we're gonna continue to go. We're gonna continue to make it happen, man. But Jam, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Yeah,
Man,
thanks for having me.
Nah, man, we're gonna keep it popping, man. You're an unofficial family you're the unofficial official member of the Average People family.
Video Show.
Yeah,
right,
video
that's
show.
right, that's right.
Man, Beto, man,
It's crazy.
Man,
I
Beto,
told you.
you did tell me.
I told you.
We're gonna have to run it back. We're gonna have to run it back,
Next time
man.
we come around, we got to talk about W Balls
Yes.
mixtapes.
Yes.
You'll
the
have a
radio
full list
show.
written out
Oh,
even before.
He's been taking notes
Yeah.
the whole time,
Look at
so.
this whole entire
I forgot
time, this is
about
all
W
stuff.
Balls talking about
Man, I know, man. I know.
Oh.
Hey, but thank you guys
Man, all the
for
Still Dre videos. So many videos. he's
so
done.
so many, bro.
DRE,
The other day I
what
texted
would you
Jam,
do?
like, I was like, bro, is this you? And I shot him a picture, and it's him, Dr. Dre, and Snoop on the Still Dre video. Like, he just partied out. I was like, damn.
Man,
All
so
right.
man,
Where they follow
Beto,
you at, Jam?
At DJ Jam DPG.
All right. Make sure you reach out to them. Let them know what's up. You know, if you have any questions about businesses or, you know, you got a story about you and Jam
Yep.
partying it up. Or,
yep. Or you
know,
got
they're-
footage from the DMC.
You know what I'm saying? So
Or our
make sure-
concert, one of our concerts. If
Yeah.
you got some footage, let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, a lot. So we're gonna come back with Jam. We're gonna have to do a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts because
It might be. It might be.
You know, but dude, this is dope. I'm glad we got the opportunity to give some of this history down because it hasn't been talked about yet.
Yeah.
Or if it has, it hasn't been documented. Or every time, I looked up Jam stuff, it was like small clips of his interview. We got a little bit more into depth. So that's
Yes.
dope, man.
Yeah.
My name is Beto Perez. You can follow me on my Instagram at Cali Burrito.
My name is Derek Santiago. You can follow me at Derek Goes
Yeah.
on Instagram, man. And thank you so much for joining us, man. It's hopefully you got something from
Some
this,
game.
and stay tuned, man. We're gonna keep it popping.
Yeah, thank you so much to King Mateo as well for being behind the scenes.
Not a
executive
doormat.
producer. Average People video show. Make sure you check that out. Drops every Wednesday at 6:19 in the morning. And also a big thank you to our partners, Two Streams. And that's it, man.
Hey, man.
Thank you for tuning into the Extendo. Peace.
Peace.